All right, so I've got something that I want to broach because I have people that are back in my house.
Sheep gather round. He's got something he wants to broach.
I have a topic to broach, and it's the topic of roommates.
Ooh.
When would you say your era of roommates ended? When was the last time you had a roommate?
Well,
college.
Not including my wife.
Well, let's leave that aside for just a second because
That's a whole other conversation.
I think that raises another question. But in the most traditional sense, when was the last time you had a roommate?
College.
In college.
Yeah.
So once you got out of college, no roommates.
No roommates.
Lived on your own?
Lived with my wife.
Lived with your wife.
Yeah,
Okay.
or girlfriend at the time, but would become wife.
Okay. You?
Married young. Yeah.
Married young. College, no post-college roommates.
Correct.
Okay. I too. Well, in law school, I had roommates. So I had law school roommates.
Okay.
But after that, I never really had roommates. I feel like children who come back from college
Yes.
are the functional equivalent of roommates.
Except they don't contribute to rent.
They're
Or
bad
utilities.
roommates. They're just bad roommates. They're eating all your food.
Yep.
They're messing with the thermostats.
Yep.
They are
Dishes.
non-contributing, and they're not always so fun to hang out with.
Dishes.
Not always doing dishes.
Not always doing dishes.
Not always doing dishes.
Bathroom.
Not always caring for the bathroom.
Yeah. Bathroom's being used a lot. No one's really taking care of it.
No one's really cleaning it.
Water bills going up. Power bills going up.
All the bills are going up.
Not contributing.
So I think when kids are little, you give them a pass.
Yep.
They are bad roommates at that time also, though.
Horrible.
No, they're great roommates.
Well, I mean, babies are horrible roommates.
They're waking you up in the middle of the night.
Now, I will tell you, I demonstrated at a very early part of having children that I had no responsibilities in the middle of the night. I did a bad job of it on purpose. And I got taken
I cannot wait for the episode in which
Oh my
Bendel's
gosh.
wife is our
I got
special
taken-
guest.
No.
I love this because like he doesn't do anything with the babies in the middle of the night. He goes to Disney World and takes one kid at a time, leaves the other kids with the wife in the very small hotel.
I'm the king of the dad hack.
Yeah, apparently.
Right? Here's any prospective dad that's out there. You want not to have to do a job in the future? Do the job poorly.
I'm your guy.
No, just do the job poorly. You get taken off the job.
You did a horrible job of the overnight baby care, and then Kelly just called you. She fired you.
I think
You're
we
out.
did learn about the pacifier poop incident.
Pacifier poop incident.
Yep.
Yeah.
Horrible.
No. I had a couple of times where just...
So you love babies as roommates.
Love babies as roommates. They're awesome. They always want to party. They're up at like random times. They're
Right.
like, let's do this.
Let's rage.
And I'm like, I'm in.
You got a
not
bottle? I got Fisher
Let's
Price music.
go.
Let's rock this thing.
Yeah.
So not only do you not do it, but you offered to do it, and your wife said, "No, please."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
It took like 2 times of saying, you did a good job taking care of the baby last night. I'm like, I have no recollection.
But
of
back to your roommate idea, the college kid coming home. Are you considering the like instituting actual roommate law with the kids coming back? So, I mean, just saying, look, you got to chip in on the bills. You got to mark your food. You got to put your name on your food. You got to do your dishes.
No, but I'm throwing out partial food now. I am no longer respecting the leftover food.
Oh,
Like, it's been here for too long.
okay.
It's out.
So you're basically instituting like office rules on the fridge.
Do you have signs on the
Semi-office.
fridge? Fridge will be
Once
cleaned
a
on
week.
Friday.
Yeah, once a week.
No,
Get
but
your
I
lunches
should.
out.
But that would be a great approach.
Yeah. I mean, it works in offices all across the country, or it did.
Back when people, well, now the kitchen fridge is the new office.
Is the
fridge.
office fridge, right?
People left so abruptly. Think about the disgusting refrigerators that are in some of these offices that people haven't even gone back to in 9 months.
I feel like we have a
There must be
very
horrible fridges.
small window to live an apocalyptic type movie experience.
to continue living the apocalyptic.
Because somebody's going back in the office for the first time, and it's probably Ghost Town. There's like weird screensavers. Oh yeah. Right back when the kids were like little and that tree hadn't quite grown.
Right. Now there's like, all the plants are dead
Right.
in the office.
There's probably deer roaming through cube
Wolves.
farms.
Some
Wolves.
guy's been living there the whole time.
Yeah. Waiting for an expense report to be completed.
TPS report.
Anybody see Brian? I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think he reserved the conference room and I haven't seen him since.
Still waiting to start. Oof. Yeah, I was a great roommate to my college buddies because I was never there. I always slept at my girlfriend's house. Right?
Really?
So I was at the girlfriend's house all the time. I just slept at the girlfriend's house. And my room in my...
So law school, college girlfriend became law school girlfriend, became real life wife?
Yeah. But it was like my room became the room where girls who hung out late at our house but didn't end up hooking up with any of the guys in the house would go and sleep in my bed.
You were like the safe room.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like, it was like if you can sleep over because it's really late, but nothing's happening.
Right. You were like,
Right.
Your bed was like the Switzerland of the house.
Yeah, it was the Switzerland. So I would always go home and there'd be, walk into my room to get a change of clothes and a shower, right? And there'd be a couple people sitting in my room.
And your girlfriend would be with you and you'd be like, look, no.
Yeah, and nothing to do with me, kid. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Couple of refugees in Switzerland.
Or my girlfriend would be like, look, Stacy, Price is not that into you. Like, you got to stop hanging out.
You got to go up to Adam's room.
Yeah, honestly, he's just not that into you.
Send
if you
a
keep
message.
spending time in Adam's room, like, it's a message that says, the guys in this house, they're not that into you. You need to find somewhere else to be.
How many roommates did you have at the time?
So at that house, I'm thinking 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, big house.
Did you ever live in a 4 or 5 person kind of living environment?
No, I had one that actually Natty Bumper Car, who's been a guest on
Okay.
our show, was
Yeah.
a roommate in college. He was a very good roommate because when we were picking out rooms, he walked into one room, through the room to the walk-in closet, and was like, "I'll take this one." And so his room was the walk-in closet, and we were able to use what should have been his room, kind of like an antechamber. We had an extra room because all he wanted was the walk-in closet. Great roommate.
So so I went to school in DC, and to be off campus, the houses are crazy expensive. The rent was crazy expensive. So I'm sure it's the same situation in New York, that you had to pack a bunch of roommates in. So it was a lot of roommates in order to make it cost effective. By the way, we devised what I still to this day believe is the best possible strategy for dividing up rent. And the rooms, because there's always the question about like the room size of the room, like how do you divide
Should
that
never
up?
be a question.
So what it was is we all got to the house, right? All the roommates got to the house. You all looked at all the various bedrooms. No one got to claim a room right away. And then we bid on the rooms. Like, how much rent are you willing to pay to stay in that room?
That's a great idea.
Right? And the idea was the person who was willing to pay the highest amount of rent got the room. And the person who got kind of the least desirable room based on how much people were willing to bid for it got the benefit of having a little bit cheaper room.
Could you bid up the other people so you could end up being that guy with paying no rent?
It wasn't an auction. It was a blind. It was a blind bid.
Blind bid?
Yeah. Now auction
So
would be
did you
kind of
go
fun.
in? Did you
Lost opportunity.
Yeah.
Did you go in with like starting off at equity, meaning all the rooms
Yes.
had a basic price,
Yeah,
and then it was a plus?
Or we said the rent's I don't know. Let's call it $500, right? And there's 5 rooms in the house, so every room starts at $100, right? And then you can bid below $100 if you're saying the maximum I want to pay for that room is I'm only going to pay $65 to stay in that room.
All right.
Did you go room by room? So you'd start with one room.
No, we did all the bidding at one time, and then the bids were read.
I'm fascinated with this because I like the idea if you went room by room, eventually the other rooms would be free. So if you have $500 rent, someone said I'll pay $250. The next room, someone goes $150, then $100.
Well, that was the great thing about the plan was that the guy who got the really bad room paid almost nothing for it and got the benefit of the house.
I don't think that's the way it works, because I would not want to live in a house with people that were that dumb that they were going to upbid. I have smarter friends. We would all be sitting around going, I guess we're just all paying the same amount. Because I'm not overbidding. If you're going to underbid, you want a free room. I'm not letting you live here for free.
Yeah, but if they overbid, I would institute that across the board.
But there's no overbidding.
Groceries, we should do that on groceries. With
It's really hard on groceries. But the other thing is, if living with dumb people was a criteria, like, I live with some really dumb people. Like, just we had one buddy, and I won't say his name in case he ever hears this, but you know who you are, and we had this long staircase, but he was crazy tall. Like, the guy was crazy tall. and there was it's an older DC house, and there was a lip at the bottom of the stairs, kind of where the staircase got a little bit tight. That kid whacked his head on that thing every time he came down the stairs. Like mice will learn like not to do stuff, but you would hear him, and like we'd be sitting in the living room and we'd be like, is that, and I'm just going to give him a name, Robert, coming down the stairs. Oh, this is going to be great. Wait. Oh! And the whole room would be like, every time you come down the stairs, Robert.
I know exactly how he feels.
Oh my God, so stupid.
That used to happen to me all the time. Tall,
and he paid
tall
extra.
people.
Yeah. Robert was in charge of parking airplanes at National Airport. I should also.
Kept hitting the nose of the airplane on the on the jetway.
Yeah.
Bunk.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I'm with you though. The kids coming back, you're going to start to have to be roommate etiquette.
It's house rules.
Yeah, you're not a kid anymore.
But we're more peers.
Yeah.
So the relationship changes.
Yes.
And then I think it's kind of a similar dynamic like when you wind up with. So I didn't do a lot of it. There are people who, and you guys obviously didn't either, who spend a bigger portion of like their 20s post school with roommates and, whatever. I'm just fearful of that. I'm going to have mom or dad move back in with me in the future. And it's not parent-child exactly. I don't know.
No, I think you have to roommate law. I mean, they have to be reasonable people at that point. You can't expect parent-child anymore. You're peers now.
Yeah.
Take responsibility.
And I think that there's probably some element, you alluded to it earlier, where the spousal relationship takes on some characteristics of the roommate relationship. Not exactly similar, but why'd you touch my stuff?
Yes. Yeah. Oh no, you hopefully have some place in your house that's your space.
Right. I'll respect your stuff. Don't touch your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, don't touch it's not necessarily the refrigerator.
Or it's just like
junk drawer, a pile or something in the garage.
I've got the universal remote all set up, so all you have to do is push these buttons. Like, don't reach in the cabinet and start switching switches around.
I actually had an experience today where I was at the gym and I was listening to my
God, it's so annoying. I don't eat dessert. I'm at the gym. Oh, I'm so great.
Okay. I walked into that a little bit.
So beautiful. So handsome.
I was at the gym and I was and my Spotify stopped.
Okay.
Which means my spouse was at home and said, "Hey, listening device, play such and such on Spotify."
And the account said something along the lines of, "Hey, you're playing it on Jamie's."
It just
doesn't say
transferred.
that. Okay.
So I realized, so I switch it back.
Yeah.
It switches again.
Oh.
But I know
Tug of war.
but in the transfer, it briefly plays the music of another person.
Ah.
So I started playing terrible music.
Yes.
On the listening device at home.
Yes.
To basically say,
stop it. Or be punished.
That might be passive aggressive.
Yeah. It's on my list of passive aggressive things. I have all the passive aggressive life hacks that one could exist, but definitely when it's the
right. You want to pull back on me, death metal until your ears bleed.
Here you go.
This isn't fix the car and don't tell the wife passive aggressive, but it's close.
No, it's very close. Which when we get to another day, I will tell you how that cost me. That wound up costing me. Not necessarily run out of town, get a ticket for a pie money, but it was...
Yeah, double down.
Yeah, I doubled down.
Yeah, double down.
It worked out, but I had to go around. It became a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode real quick.
We'll have a bonus episode for our sheep on that one.
Absolutely.
All right, sheep. Well, we got a guest coming up. We're going to turn it over to him now, but stick around because it's going to get crazy good. Bye. You guys been doing all these Zoom teleconferences recently?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been zooming it up.
Yeah, so they're one of the things I've noticed is that people always put behind them like some kind of funky background.
Of course, yeah.
And it seems to be like a way to show you're colorful on these things, that you have some kind of odd background in the back. I've come across something that's almost 7 times better than that. And so what this does is it just puts you up on the Zoom. So you don't have to actually be there. What it does, it's called virtualyou.com. They're one of our new sponsors. They take images of you and they do some very slow videos so you still move. But in fact, It is you on the Zoom. Not you, because you can go do whatever you want. You can go golfing. You can go back to bed. You can, I don't know, play some pinball, maybe some Xbox. I don't even know.
Could you go make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Yeah. I'm not sure. They don't tell you on the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but it makes sense. It just makes sense that you could. Do you think you could use a virtual you?
Oh, I could 100% use a virtual me.
Yep. And if you act now, you can do a virtual family. If you use the term podcast, you can do a virtual family and go ahead and give grandma, pretend like you're interested in grandma or pretend you're interested in that uncle.
Does it have to be your actual family?
No, they'll do
Virtual family?
Yeah, virtual family, if you'd like. It's like
you don't have to be there.
No, that's the beautiful part. And they simulate movements of you, so it doesn't look like you can't talk, but you do kind of move around. You just look like the silent observer. The interesting thing is what they'll do is they'll ping you on your phone if you have to talk, and you just can talk with your phone. And you say something like, "Yes, Susan, that's right."
Can our sheep get any sort of good deal?
Yeah. Anyhow, if you use the code BHHcast, you can get a free family thrown in with your virtual you.
Not a real product.
Check it out, sheep, because you don't even know when they're doing them Zooms and stuff on the interwebs.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the BHHcast. Jamie Bendel, Jamie Hernan, Adam Haig.
Welcome back, sheep.
We are joined, flock it up. We are joined by our special guest. Our special guest this episode is Mr. Tommy Blaze. Tommy, welcome to the BHHcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
What's going on, Tommy?
Very busy, but I got these minutes for you because I love what you're doing. Of course, I've heard about it, and I have no idea what you're doing.
So, Tommy, you have a very complex life. You're a very busy guy. We earlier this episode were talking about roommates and experiences with roommates. But the first question we always ask our guests is
7 inches, and that's hardly any of your business.
Yeah, exactly.
is what's on your business card?
If I had one, that's a really good question. I think if I had one, it would say, nowadays, it would say writer-producer.
All right. And
I
so
think,
in the
yeah.
context of writer-producer, give people who might not be familiar with your name or your work some kind of tentpole things that they would be familiar with.
I started writing. Okay, so I spent 30 years on the road telling jokes in, comedy clubs and bars and cruise ships, the whole thing. I think I've done every legitimate and illegitimate stage in the business. I even worked one time the big room in Vegas. I got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever tell you that story, Jamie?
Mm-mm.
I was shooting craps at the Tropicana. The
Well
entertainment
played, right
director.
away.
I wasn't even there. I was just visiting. I'm saying I wasn't working in town or anything like that. I was just visiting. The entertainment director knew me, came over and said, "Hey, can you get a tuxedo?" And I said, "It's Vegas." I said, "Yeah, anybody can get a tuxedo. Homeless people are wearing tuxedos out here." And they said, "Good, because back in the day, the Tropicana had a big show, a stage show called the Follies Bergère. And they had a comedian that came out and did 7 minutes and was paid some ungodly amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that comedian was getting an appendectomy or something. And they said, "Can you fill in tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to work the big stage, right?" So I got the tuxedo and went out and did it. Bombed. It was awful because because I was trying to be a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's not what they're interested in. They're interested in just someone to come out and say some things so that the naked women can come back out. The topless, Vegas showgirls,
Right.
So one day turned into the next. There's like, well, he's still out. Oh, there were complications. Oh, he's on his deathbed. And I was supposed to do it one day. I ended up being there the whole week. And of course, I started to figure it out. And I got better and better. And I'm thinking, my gosh, what a gig. This guy works 10 minutes a day. And they paid me his money.
Wow.
And it was, I don't remember what it was, but it was 5 times whatever I was making on the road. And I was like, this is awesome. And I had his dressing room. It was the only dressing room that had a telephone. So one of these 6-foot-tall showgirls comes back there, topless, and says, "Can I use the phone?" And I'm like, suddenly I became Jerry Lewis. I'm trying to be cool and suave in a tuxedo, and I was like, "Why you can go with the ringing of the phone?" And I said, she did, and I just stood there going, "What?" It was like that Alan Fun thing. What do you say to a naked lady? Like, right. What do you say? And I finally the comedian in me just took over. And when she got off the phone, I said, "Look, I'm not going to stand here and pretend that I don't notice that you're naked. I'm not going to do that. Like, that's just not, who does that? I'm not a hardened vet."
Right. Right. That feels even more worse to fake it. Right.
You can actually be
right to pretend like up here. Look in my eyes. Why? Yeah. So
of the phrase you use, Tommy, you're allowed to be one or the other.
Right.
Exactly. And I was just me. I'm going, I have to respond to this because this is never going to happen to me again. Well, she got the last laugh. She went outside and brought all 20 of them back there. They all had to use the phone suddenly. So I was literally in a room, 10 by 10, 10 by 8, with 20 topless Las Vegas showgirls. And they just stood there. And I was like, "Okay, you guys win." And then they left.
That's the worst.
And then, the next night, I was a hardened vet. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how many times the question, "What is on your business card?" ends up with the story being about topless showgirls?
It's weird.
Every time.
No, it is. It's weird how we get that.
It's like,
if I had a nickel.
We started. I love the idea. You know how many times I've rolled bones in Vegas and that never have I ended up in a room with a bunch of topless showgirls.
You have 3 minutes
to
go.
It took 30 years for it to happen to me.
That's amazing.
Years,
That's a great gig, though, right?
But,
10 minutes, lots of money.
I guess the what?
That's a great gig, though. 10 minutes, lots of money, naked showgirls.
Yeah. There are guys like that in the tourist places. Out in Myrtle Beach, for instance, they have a couple of those theaters, that are open all year round, and they'll have a comic. They'll come out and literally do 10, 12 minutes in between the racing stallions and the lariat team from Montana. They'll come to do very short, and they make a very good living, and they get to sleep in their own bed every night. And I mean, they're never gonna. They said to themselves, they made that decision, like, "Okay, I'm not doing the Tonight Show. I'm not getting a Netflix special, but I love doing stand up, and I'm going to make a good living doing this."
They're not making podcast
never
money.
have to change their acts,
So Tommy, listen. You talk about being a producer and a writer and whatnot. Very quickly, you wrote a book that was very well received. That was an interesting concept. But then also talk a little bit about how you made the transition from being a comic on the road to being actually a producer of movies.
Yeah. So I wrote, about, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years ago, I had this idea of a comic strip, and it was just a little boy, and instead of like Winnie the Pooh, imaginary bear, or Calvin and Hobbes, an imaginary tiger, I wanted to give the boy an imaginary friend, so to speak. And I just went to the next step, and I said, what if it was God? What if this boy, his buddy, was God? As like Winnie the Pooh and say Calvin and Hobbes. Whereas, the friend was invisible to everybody else. And I did. I started writing these things on, what was it called? MySpace. I just started writing them on MySpace. And I got an illustrator. We wrote a book, and we got it published out of a company right there in Georgia, actually, not too far from Atlanta. And it sold a lot, and I would sell them in the comedy clubs. It's an odd thing. A comedy club is a bar with a stage, right? But yet I would say, hey, I wrote this little thing. It's a comic strip. It's about a boy and God, and people bought them. And one thing led to another, and I started writing movies for this company called Pure Flix. And they're the people that did God's Not Dead, and among many, many other things. But that was one of them. They hit really big with that movie, and they were able to launch an SVOD, streaming video on demand, like PureFlix. Like Netflix. And I started writing content for their SVOD because, as you know, content is king, and just you can't get enough of it, right?
Right.
So I started writing 1 movie, 2 movies, then 5 movies were made, then television shows and sitcoms, and I did a comedy show like A&E that Bendel was part of, and it just kept spinning and spiraling. And most recently, I wrote a little movie that I said I want to produce it because I want to see it end up on the screen like I saw it. And we're shooting in a couple of weeks, actually. We're going to start right there in Atlanta at the Punchline. We're going to shoot some B-roll. Then we're going to go up to Knoxville and shoot a little Christmas rom-com called Banking on Christmas. And I wish I had I knew that I couldn't stay on the road forever.
Right.
Like at one point, the road would just kill you. Right. You know, and as so many of my friends that I started with have passed on. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes they didn't get to die in their own bed, if you know what I mean. And I didn't want that to happen to me.
You find yourself in a room
so
full of 20
I knew that I
naked
had to
children.
get off the road. Right.
Like, what am I doing with
I
this
knew I had
job?
to get off the road. I knew it. And it took me about 5 years, but I did actually maybe a little longer than that.
All right, so that leads me into the other question. We have 3 questions that we ask all guests. Yep. We've asked the first, now we're asking the second. You're familiar with the concept of a meat and 3 restaurant, right?
A meat at 3?
No, meat and 3.
See, I think this is a regional thing.
I don't know what that is.
So it's very popular in the South. It's kind of a cafeteria style. You get a meat, and then you get 3 sides.
So the idea is you look at a menu and they say chicken, beef, or fish, and then you can get like a bunch of veggies.
It's a lot of times it's cafeteria style, but it's a meat and 3.
Yeah,
right?
meat and 3.
Okay.
I understand now. Yep, I get it. Yep,
so here's the question we ask. What is your meat and 3? The meat is what is the organizing principle? What is the anchor or tentpole around which you organize your life? And then secondly, your 3 is what are the attributes that you would like other people to identify with you?
I wish you guys would have given me some time to think about this.
It's the ambush that it makes it. Yeah, I
thought it was like hack jokes from the 80s. With us is Tommy Blaze. Tell us about Kathy Rigby. Wow. What's the third question? Can we circle back to that one?
No, you're gonna like the third question better. But seriously, what is the thing? You've lived a life. You've seen some things. Now that you're a fully formed adult, what is it that you say, this is what I anchor my life around?
COVID changed things, right? If you had asked me this 8, 9, 10 months ago, I might have given you a different answer. Now I think if I had to answer that, if I was going to be truthful, I just want to get out of this life alive. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to die hard. Like if I just want to spend the last, whatever I have left, whatever it is, 20, 30 years, 25, whatever. I just want to go naturally, just peacefully. I don't want it to be like, oh, did you hear about Tommy Blaze? Oh yeah, I fell off a bridge. Like, I don't want that.
Right.
So I live my life a lot quieter now. I don't take chances that I used to. I try to be nicer to people, which I fail at miserably. But I try to be, because when I go, I don't want to be like, oh, that rotten SOB. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so then what are the 3, if you were to have other people, let's fast forward to that now time, and you have people talking.
I think I would like, if I had to be remembered, I would like him to say he had some really good ideas. And every now and then he actually executed 1 or 2. That'd be awesome, because we all have great ideas. It's all about the execution. I would like him to say, he was really funny. He was funny at his prime, or when he was really on, or at his best, or whatever. He could do it. He could bring it. That'd be awesome. And I think also I'd like to say that I was a good father to my 2 daughters.
All right. So hang on. Let me interject, because you've walked your way right into our third question.
This may be the greatest segue into this question.
You just segued beautifully.
This is the best, because our third question we ask of all guests is, what is your dad brag? What is something that you, with total freedom, without any self-consciousness,
you don't have to be humble. Yeah.
Just something that you are so proud about your children?
both of my daughters have miserable love lives. They cannot meet. They cannot meet boys or men that are worth a damn. And I truly believe it's because they're in my shadow.
Nice.
And they, and I told them, I've been telling them ever since they were little, you're going to have such a hard time. Because you're going to go out and try to replace me. You're going to go out. I'm the first man in your life. I'm the first love that you'll have, for a man. That's it. And you're going to go out and continually try to find somebody who is Bendel. My daughter Delaney. She's staring at me right now.
Right.
I said, you're going to go out and try to replace me, and you're not going to be able to do it.
This is like a new meaning to dad brag.
No, I like the dad brag that says, my daughters have a miserable love life because I rocked it as a dad.
So it's so funny, Tommy. I haven't seen you in some months, but I've been doing a joke of late where I talk about my girls are finally starting to date. And of course, it's kind of a cliche that men try to replace their mothers and women try to replace their dads. And now that my girls start bringing home these boys, all I can think is this what you think of me?
This is what how you see me?
Is this what I've been to all these years? All right, so Tommy, if somebody wants,
either they try to replace us or they go the exact opposite. But either way, we will forever impact them.
Right.
Either way.
Yeah.
The tenor of that. Yeah.
All right, so Tommy, real quick, where would people who are wanting to find more about the movies that you've been involved with, or just otherwise keep up with your career? Where would they find information?
Yeah, you can go to pureflix.com. I think the first month is free or something like that. And there's just a ton of content up there that I've either written or acted in, but mostly written. And then this summer, Banking on Christmas will be released, believe it or not, in the summer. And then it'll be re-released again closer to Christmas. And it's exciting because PureFlix was just bought by Sony. So technically, I work for Sony now.
Oh, nice. All right, we appreciate it, Tommy Blaze. Thank you for joining the BHHcast.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
What's up, man?
I am going to change your life. We have a brand new sponsor.
I love the money. Bags of money. What are we shilling now?
This is lonerlifestyle.com. If you don't have it, you can borrow it.
Tell me about Loner Lifestyle.
Let's say you want to go to the beach this weekend with the family.
Yep.
Do you have a beach house?
Nope.
Do you have a friend who has a beach house?
I do.
Can you borrow it?
Maybe.
That's the magic of Loner Lifestyle.
How's it work?
Using an anonymous request through lonerlifestyle.com, you can ask your friend if you can borrow their house for the weekend.
So it's not me asking the request?
No, because that could be awkward.
Yeah.
Your friend might not want to let you borrow his house.
Now, Adam has visited the other lonerlifestyle.com website many times. That's the LONER.
No, I sometimes go to lonely.com, but I don't want to talk about that right now.
So if you're going to Loner Lifestyle, we have all of your manifesto needs.
In addition,
we have cabins for rent.
Really?
We have writing supplies.
Nice.
We have fake beards.
Legit.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks just like it.
And if you sign up this month, you get a free police sketch.
Only if you use the BHHcast, though.
Only if you use BHHcast.
All right.
Free police, free cabin,
police sketch, maybe a cabin in the woods.
We have manifesto generator.
Yep.
It is all available for you at lonerlifestyle.com.
Check it out, loners.
Not a real product.
Sheep, you better get down to that loner thing and get your cabin and stuff.
All right, Sheep, welcome back to the BHHcast.
Bah.
Time to welcome our comic guest, and this is actually a bit of a treat for me because this is somebody who I have known almost as long as I've known anybody in comedy. He is comedian Costaki Economopoulous.
Welcome, Costaki.
Hey, welcome.
Good to be here. I've known you forever, Jamie Bendel.
It has been a long time.
Sheep, gather around. This is going to be fun.
When you introduced me that way, my first thought is you and me doing open mics at a comic cafe in Marietta, and your signature piece was Roman children playing hide and seek.
Yes.
Is that right?
That was
a fair assessment?
My classic impression.
and they cover their eyes and they go, I. Am I doing this justice?
Yeah.
Do I have this right?
You are. It's a great joke. Still
It is a
crushes.
great joke.
Yeah.
You still do it. It's great.
I hate to characterize it this way, but kind of timeless.
Kind of timeless.
Yeah, that's right. When you do the Roman comedy, no one could ever say, "Oh, that's too old. That's been done." It's
No.
like
That's not fresh.
It's very niche.
when you write it, it's old. Yeah, you're safe.
Yeah, that's right. I pair it with another joke, which never gets the laugh it deserves, which is I think it was Socrates who first heard the phrase, "Hey, teach, can we have class outside today?" Which was always sort of underappreciated.
I think it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Right? They never show a picture of any of those guys from antiquities indoors.
No.
They're always teaching outside.
Some staircase.
I assume it's a beautiful day in Athens.
Yeah.
I have a joke that's about. I'm not going to be able to put it together for it to be good enough.
All right, so let's hold off for just a second. So
Keep that.
Yeah, hang on to that thought for just a second.
You didn't even introduce. You didn't even really. I'm sorry, I talked too much in the beginning.
No. So we were talking earlier this episode about roommates and roommates in life, and how old are you when you kind of drop the concept of a roommate? And what was that like for you? Did you have a long time of roommate experiences?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of my early sort of comedy days, I had a significant other and we were together and checked up in that way. So I had more of the traditional couple roommates. But I did have a brief thing as a grown-up where I was in the outskirts of LA and my buddy was there all the time and I was there occasionally. And so I was a sometimes roommate. I literally had a futon in what would otherwise have been the dining room.
I think the futon in the dining room is a pretty classic roommate scenario, especially in like a high price city like LA or like a New York or San Francisco where you got to pack as many people as you can into a house.
Did you split?
That's right.
Split rent equally?
Oh, no. I think it was $1,000 a month and I think I contributed $200. It was something like that.
That seemed a little steep for the futon dining room, but I'm going to let it go.
Although on Thanksgiving, after the turkey and you're ready to go to sleep,
Boom.
you're there.
You just flip right over to the futon.
I was actually going to ask, was he allowed to use the futon when you were not home for dinner parties?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For dinner parties.
I have to say there was a time I slept on a futon. Did you ever sleep on a futon?
Oh, yeah.
You're a futon sleeper?
In college, sure.
College? Did you ever sleep on a futon?
I don't think so.
I have a hard time going back to thinking, like now in life, that I would ever sleep on a futon again. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, at this point,
my futon days are over.
Yeah, your futon days are beyond you. I think they kind of go out with the roommates. Like as you no longer want to have roommates in your life, you probably no longer want the futon life anymore.
That's right. It's the same phase of life.
If you find yourself on a futon, things have gone south.
Yeah, there's a problem.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
or you drank a lot that night.
You can't even say like, no, I'm just going through a retro phase. I'm like, it's just a little bit. It's kind of like mid-century modern on HGTV.
So your wife is like, hey, he's just dealing with the thing. He's sleeping on the futon.
He's on the futon.
Yeah. He also just bought another car.
Futon is so much better than pull-out couch. Pull-out couch by its nature is just a horrific experience. It's never constructed in a way that's good for you.
Yeah, I think that's
Futon
good.
is at least good at what it is.
Yeah, I think that's good for like the 8-year-old sleepover. And beyond that, there's nothing good about a pull-out couch. Like that thing will break your back. There is literally a pole in the middle that is jamming right into your lower back.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm one of America's best pull-out sofa sleepers.
What are you talking about?
I'm an amazing. I probably among everybody participating in this conversation right now, I have spent more nights on a pull-out sleeping contraption.
Okay, so is that in your home?
Not often at home, although occasionally, and almost always on the road. No, when we travel.
Yeah,
we did family of 5.
Oh, right.
4 girls
we had the family
and a boy.
5. Yep.
And so mom, 2 kids, 3 kids on beds. Dad Pull-out sofa.
You should know they invented this thing called an inflatable mattress
Nope.
that you can just blow up in the room. Yeah. No, they have.
I know they have them, but I don't.
You prefer the pole in the back.
Yeah, because you know what a pull-out sofa never does? Deflate.
Yeah. I
think
couldn't
it's
walk the next day.
Am I right in thinking that the quality of the blow-up mattresses is way up from when it was, and it would have been a better choice than a futon in that era if we had that choice?
Nope.
It's like the Madden of bad sleeping, right?
I would tell you that if I were to rank sleep preferences
Today, we're talking about
right now,
today's.
I'm talking about today.
So give me a
This is-
quality blow-up mattress versus a quality pull-out bed versus a quality futon.
Number one, traditional mattress, real mattress.
Okay.
2,
Waterbed.
never slept on a waterbed.
That can't be the answer.
I am telling you that you would be the king of your peer group,
Right?
if you had both a futon and a waterbed.
Waterbed today, right?
Coming over to my place, guys.
50.
We're going waterbed.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
That would be the greatest.
What happened to waterbed? Like, there was a death of waterbed that happened. I can't remember the last time I've seen a waterbed.
I'm assuming the gel foam people put the waterbed industry completely kaput.
Really?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think that, right?
I don't think you can put.
Are you talking like Illuminati?
I don't
Like,
think
put
it was
them
a-
out?
I don't think it rose to the level of the Illuminati. I think
Okay.
it was just the people that created memory foam were like, we can create the same float-like experience. We don't actually need the float.
But if I just hit the wave, it hits the wall, it comes back, it gives me a little more wave.
The commercials with the bottle of or the glass of wine on the waterbed don't work out as well.
No.
Although they
Okay,
would-
I'm sorry. You were ranking.
They
You
would
were
go-
ranking.
Hang on a second. I'm going to tell you, we should recreate, and we'll probably all be rich, if we could create waterbed commercials with stemless glasses of wine. Because that would 100% work.
Just rolls.
Yep, just rolls. It just kind of goes on its thing and be like,
great.
this is, you can sleep, you won't,
So you were ranking.
I was in the middle of ranking.
Let
Yeah.
some water out.
Traditional bed.
Traditional mattress.
Yes.
Number 1.
Okay.
Number 2.
Don't say pull out.
I'm going to go futon.
Okay. Quality.
Number 3, pull out. Number 4, bare floor. Number 5, air mattress.
You've gone too far.
I would go.
Come on.
I would go bare floor over air mattress.
What is your problem with air
Come
mattress?
on.
I hate an air mattress.
Okay, so you haven't slept on an air mattress
I've
in the last
slept on
5
it.
years.
I glamped this summer and I had an air mattress.
and
What?
it was
It was the worst.
What kind of dirt does the pull-out couch industry have on you?
None.
Yeah, that's right.
None.
What about a regular couch? Where do you put that in your top 5
Yeah.
or 6?
I mean, couches are pretty great.
I would go couch. I'd go traditional mattress, futon, couch,
Futon above?
pull out. I'd go futon. Yeah. Futon.
I
Because
think,
futon
I
is.
think a good
Okay.
couch is way above futon.
Oh,
Or any of
totally.
the other things.
It's
I'm
almost
saying full night's
beats out
sleep.
traditional mattress.
Full night. Yeah. But there's a lot of variables in couch.
Yeah, depending on
that's
what
right.
football game's on.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
lot
a
of
big
couch-
swing.
A lot of couch
But
variables.
as a general rule, you want to sleep on the couch, not even if it's a pull-out couch. You don't want to pull it out. You want to. Hopefully, you don't have a buddy that you've been drinking and you both have to sleep on it because you just want to sleep on the couch part, right?
Well, I
I
think,
think
wanna
Jamie's
go-
saying. I think Jamie pulls it out, which is gross, and it's not.
No,
good.
if I can go regular couch, I'll go regular couch.
Okay, but
If I can't,
you will pull it out.
I'll pull out. I mean, if it's there to be pulled out, I mean, there's no reason to leave it hidden,
Except
What
for
are we
that
talking
big-
about here?
tucked up.
Except for that big pole in your back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me
just,
too. You can't pull it out.
yeah.
Oh, never pull it out. You don't pull it out, especially when your buddy's in the room.
That's over.
Yeah. Actually, if it's a pull-out sectional, you can one of you can you pull it out in sections. you can
Pull out sectional. That's very specific.
We walk a line.
yeah. But if you go pull-out sectional, usually the way a pull-out sectional works is you could have couch sleeper and sectional sleeper.
I feel like the metrics on this part of the podcast are not going to look great.
No, we are going to keynote our TED Talk at the mattress convention if it's held in person in 2021.
I do think there is something weird because there's never been anybody that likes the pull-out couch as much as you do. I think you are
No,
a
no.
stooge for the industry.
I am saying I'm just taking pull-out over air mattress.
which is crazy talk.
No,
You
it's not
put
crazy
air
talk.
mattress under floor.
I choose air mattress last.
Okay, well,
I stand by it.
okay, I'm going to change your mind. We're going to bring in an air mattress.
I'm willing to be
and
open-minded.
It's going to change it's going to rock your world.
Yeah. All right, so we've wandered fairly far afield. Costaki. Time for question number 1.
3 questions.
Oh, that wasn't number 1?
No,
that was
no,
here we go.
The warm-up?
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
We like to get at least 11 minutes.
Honestly,
into the
Costaki,
podcast.
you and I could probably talk mattresses all night, but Jamie's going to make us do these stupid 3 questions. Here we go. And wait until he asks you what it means. Oh, sorry.
All right, question number 1. What does it say on your business card?
Oh, you know what? I don't have one lately, but in the old days, I loved it because I was amused that you could put anything you wanted on there and no one would question you. So I would put Costaki Economopoulous, comedian, writer, good guy. And I just thought it was great that you could just, especially when I got these cards, I was barely employed as a comedian or a writer. My being a good guy was totally a question mark, too. I just thought it was great that you could put whatever you wanted.
All right, so to the extent that you're a writer, your principal writing gig right now is what?
Right now, I have launched a football comedy brand called All Pro Lines, and I am writing furiously on that. It is a lot of work. And it's hard because I spent 25 years writing jokes that are words, and now I'm trying to write visual funny. It's a very different muscle. I'm learning.
But going okay so far?
Oh, yeah, it's been great. It's a month old. It's literally that new. I wasn't even sure there was going to be a football season this year, so I waited, and I'm like, okay, we're doing this. I'm doing it. It's been so fun.
Where can people find that?
For the listeners, it's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at All Pro Lines. So we don't even have a website yet. I'm gonna figure that out in the off season. I've just launched it on social media and got a lot of radio support, and people are chiming in, and actually they're creating content that's good too. Like, we've opened the doors to people to contribute and to write tags on jokes, and we're rewriting memes together, and it's been really. I can't believe how funny some of the participants are. It's
Well,
been
that's
great.
awesome. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so question number 2, which I think you are going to embrace. You are familiar with the concept of a meat and 3 restaurant, right?
Yes.
Are you? Come on. Now, you hesitated there. Are you familiar with a meat and 3 restaurant?
Maybe I am hesitating. I think that means it's you sit down and you pick 3 sides to go with your whatever the meat is.
Right.
Oh,
There you go.
Well
Attaboy,
done.
Costaki.
You prove Jamie gets 1 in the win column.
Right, that's not question
Okay.
2.
No, that is a question 2. Yeah. So question 2 is this is the analogy, in the plate that is your life. What is the meat that you organize your life around? The philosophy, the theory, the organizing principle that is your North Star. What is your meat?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, my first thought is the kids, because everything's built around the kids. The schedule, the school schedule, the sleep schedule, the nap schedule, and then you try to fill in with the sides of all the other parts of life as much as you can. I don't know if that's the best philosophical answer, but that is the practical answer for a dad with 2 kids during a pandemic.
So when you think about the kids being the meat, how do you want to raise those kids? What are the principles that you kind of want to reinforce with them? What's important to you that they're getting out of you as a father?
Oh, goodness gracious! What are you guys? My subconscious? I don't know. I'm trying to.
Let's go ahead and sit down on the couch.
Let me pull out this sofa for you.
Yeah, that's right. It's a sectional. Okay.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we'll be laying down side by side.
I want them to be comfortable in their own skin. That's the first thing. I want them to be comfortable in who they are and to be supported and loved and, have some boundaries and let them grow their own way. And, I want them to be good people and nice to other folks, and preferably, they hang in there when the going's tough, like with the little one. We read a book about the Danes and how the Danes raise children. And so they suggest rough, somewhat rough, like rough and tumble playtime, which I like. I like that. And throw them around on the couch and wrestle with them and stuff. And it gives them a little resilience. That's the goal. Which I like that. I like that approach. So yeah, I'm still learning. I don't know exactly what the answer is, but I want them to be good people, and I'm doing my best.
You mentioned nap schedules. Do you take naps?
I try not to because it screws up my schedule, but sometimes I do. Like today, I do radio a lot of the days of the week, so on those days it's hard to not take a nap because that starts early and, chasing the toddler around the rest of the time. So when the toddler takes a nap, I'm like, I got 90 minutes here where I could do this too. It's hard to not join in.
Can you guys take a power nap? Can you take a quick nap and not wake up just groggy?
I'm going to tell you, I take a 15 to 20 minute nap every day.
Okay, I got to jump in. I just finished a book about the Danes and how the Danish live, and I'm questioning whether it's the same. So I just finished a book called A Year of Living Danishly, where they talk about...
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's not the same book. Okay, because they do talk a lot about the kids and how the kids are just kind of like they trying to raise Vikings, essentially, and the kids kind of work it out, and you just leave them off in the kinder... And they have some hassle and they have some rough and tumble, but it ends up actually socializing them significantly better.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you go to like the last 50 years of studies, the Scandinavians always come in as among the happiest in the world, over and over and over again. Lots of different fields have studied this, sociologists, psychologists, over and over and over and over again. The Danes come in the top few globally for happiness. And so presumably a lot of it's community, right? It's a lot of the community things, and it's the sort of openness of the culture, and there's this sense of team effort. It's very much a social network, and there is a safety net, and there's help for mothers there's some arguments from socialists that it's a good system for that reason. I'm not sure I would go that far, but there's definitely a community aspect that's richer than what typical Americans have.
I've heard that the Vikings were...
That part of it's fascinating.
Vikings were as successful as they were because they had good childcare back
in the 1600s.
They were able to drop off their kids.
Yeah, well, I'm going to leave the
15, 14, 13.
I'm going to go conquer. And I assume these kids will be okay when I get back.
Yeah, because
it's
they're
nice when you get free healthcare. Yeah, that helps Viking activity.
All right, so
I'm wondering if there's a conspiracy theory here from the Scandinavians, because I watched one Norwegian show on Netflix, and now that's all I get on Netflix. I got a Swedish
We're coming
show.
at you. By the way, we're both on the take right now. Yeah. We're here just to be Scandinavian scabs for you. We're pushing content to you that is Danish.
Right.
I want to counterpoint to I've watched some Scandinavian content that's available on streaming, and it always seems dark and miserable. Like there isn't a lot of happiness in those shows.
That's what I love about the fact that Scandinavian countries are actually doing this, and that there actually are they're ranked so happy. I think it's an absolute cop out that Australia gets to call themselves happy. It's beautiful in Australia all the time. It's easy to be happy if you live in Australia. It is another accomplishment altogether if 6 months of the year it is dark all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
And cold as
point.
heck. And to call yourselves an 8 out of 10 in happiness when you live in that kind of environment, I mean, that says something.
This is legit. One of the points in the book is that they were talking about how American entertainment is, sometimes they'll literally run it through like a focus group to make sure it has an ending that everyone's happy with. And in Scandinavia, it's a lot more of like, they don't care about happy endings. It's okay for something to end sadly as long as it sticks with you and has,
you can contemplate it in the 8 months of darkness.
That's right. You can think about it and it can warm your heart. And if it's sad, sometimes that's a good lesson too. And that's something that Americans, it's such a Disney-fied universe that we live in. We want, you can't watch a romantic comedy where the couple doesn't get together. That's not an American film. That's a totally different style, right?
It may be that Scandinavia, there was so much content out there about them being happy. Americans started to move there, and they're like, oh, we got to throw out some.
Yeah, we got to throw some dark stuff to keep these Americans out. Like, start pushing. Only the dark content goes on Netflix US because we're sick and tired of all these Americans.
Were all
coming.
these Scandinavian series shot in Seattle? Like, seems like it's damp all the time.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. They're cursed with some great climate for sure.
All right, so
It's a great meat, by the way.
All right, so that's a good meat. Now, what are the three? What are the three attributes that you would like people to most closely identify with you?
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm having trouble interpreting the question. Do you mean in terms of like what are the other things that I'm trying to do?
What are
with
the
my
things?
life, or in terms of how people see me?
How people see you?
Yeah,
What are
so
the
if your kids were, what do you want your kids to say about your coworkers,
the people you
or
work with,
friends?
the people in your life?
What would you want them to say? You know, is
not say about you so much,
yeah.
but to say this is this kind of guy.
Yeah, the kind of person you are.
You know, hey, if someday I live up to my the business card that I wrote for myself in 1993 or whatever, that would be great. Comedian, writer, good guy. Those are all good goals. You know, if you can pull that off, that's nice. In addition to being a great dad, that's a pretty good life.
I like that.
All right.
Yeah, I think I would like people to respect me as a comic. To have the best comics in the world think, that guy's in the same. He's in the same world that we're in. You know, we're all in this together, and to be seen as a good guy. Those are always been a couple of my big goals.
All right. So following that, it leads us kind of naturally to question number 3.
Yeah.
Which is a little segment question we like to call Dad Brag. And it's just an opportunity for you to kind of, without embarrassment, just really brag on your kids for a second.
Yeah, you don't have to be humble here. There's no, let's have it. What are you excited about your kids?
That's nice. My little one has been, she's a little late to the table on speaking in terms of, what the
How old is she?
standard. She's 2.5.
Okay.
So this week she's had a couple of little breakthroughs, and so they're fun to see. Like my mom came into the room the other day for the first time, just completely uninitiated. She just said hi, and that's that was really fun to see.
That's awesome.
I gave her some stuff tonight, and she also is doing some light sign language, and she touched her chin and gave me the thank you. Like, again, nobody encouraged her or nudged her at all. She just, like, there was a beat where I handed her some food, and she looked up at me and smiled and tapped her chin and said thank you. It was cool.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
I love that.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
Exactly.
All right, so now the next little portion of our conversation is going to be focused on something that we call broken bits. And broken bits is comics only, and what we would like to know about is a joke or a premise or something that you have that is just a bit that is broken, and you, for whatever reason, just can't make it work.
Or something that you think is funny but just hasn't hit.
Right. You're like, this kills, and then it doesn't kill.
I love this so much. I actually did a segment on Bob and Tom years ago, a radio show that was, I titled it My Favorite Jokes That Don't Work, which I thought was going to be really fun for everybody. But of course, it's me regaling them with jokes that don't work, which, not as fun as it sounded when I was writing it out for everyone to enjoy.
The sheep, however, are much more tolerant.
Okay, all right. Well, one of my favorite jokes, I actually worked on this with Tom Simmons, and we daydreamed that it was going to be a T-shirt, it was going to be like a catchphrase. We thought it was going to be the best joke you ever saw. It was when I was a kid, I didn't have a dog or a cat. I had a pet peeve. It wasn't much fun to play with. It was actually pretty aggravating. Nothing. That joke has never worked ever once, even a little bit. And I just thought that was so funny when we wrote it. I don't know. That's one of those.
I love that.
You need a name for the pet peeve, maybe?
I
had
actually
a pet peeve called angry.
I was actually thinking it would be the ballsiest thing ever to name your dog Peeve.
Right?
Be like, what's your dog's name? Be like, Peeve.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's my pet peeve. That's my pet peeve.
Yeah.
Do people get it?
Or
Do people
in
get it
his
right
joke-
away?
In his joke, if he gives it a dog name, like my pet peeve, Charlie.
Oh, that would be that.
My
Yeah,
pet peeve was named Charlie.
Wait, Charlie is your go-to as a dog name?
I have a dog named Charlie.
I have a dog named Charlie.
Okay, I actually had a dog named Charlie.
Yeah,
Everybody's got a
However,
dog named
I
Charlie.
currently have a dog named Charlie.
like Scruffles isn't the one you go to.
Scruffles.
No, nobody names their dogs. I think peeve is the
think-
next
yeah.
dog I get. I'm thinking of
I
naming
had
a
a
peeve.
pet peeve.
I don't think you're interested in fixing his.
And then the great thing is, like, if the joke doesn't hit, you follow it up with, no, he was a dog.
That's just the dog's name.
No, I don't think
No,
you're getting
yeah.
it. My dog was named Pete.
My dog was actually named Peeve.
You either get the first joke, and if that misses, you follow it with, oh no, he's a dog.
But if you name I understand the pet peeve and I get all that. But if you're actually talking about the pet peeve and you name it Charlie,
Are you workshopping this joke or not?
I am. I'm workshopping your Charlie. I think we gotta.
You want to rename my dog? Go ahead. We'll call it Lassie.
Lassie? There you go.
My parents were very poor when I was young. We didn't have cats or dogs. Our pets were all peeves.
That's so good.
No, my dad had a pet peeve. He used to call it all the time to be like, turn off those lights.
That's right.
Right?
I'm not heating the neighborhood.
I'm not heating the neighborhood. Oh God, I love that pet.
That was
he
impressive.
was
We had
such a
so
good
many
boy.
good pets in
was
our
such
house.
a good
We
boy.
had
Yeah.
we had turn the lights off.
Yeah.
We had I'm not heating
Yeah.
the
We
neighborhood.
don't live in a
We said,
barn.
close the door. Close the fridge door. Don't touch the thermostat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Those were the best pet peeves.
yeah.
Still remember when that one pet peeve died.
Oh, ran away.
Okay, went to college
I went to college. My parents called me.
and said, "Dad's totally cool with the thermostat."
Yeah, it
now."
turns out he's totally fine.
Yeah, and that pet peeve was never there anymore.
Oh, now that I'm a grown up, I would love to kill some of my pet peeves.
Right?
Yeah.
It's nice for some of those to finally go away.
Do you? Do either of your kids have an imaginary friend?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
No.
How old are your kids?
12 and 2.
Okay. Good spread.
Yeah, it's a big spread. Ava and Zoe. A to Z. all
Oh,
done.
really? There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alpha and the Omega.
I actually, so my youngest had an imaginary child. Had an imaginary child, no. Had an imaginary friend.
That's definitely pull-out sectional.
Had an imaginary friend. And we hadn't heard about the imaginary friend in a while, so we asked her what was going on with her imaginary friend. And she told us that she put her imaginary friend down the heaven hole.
What's that?
Before we get to the heaven hole,
Terrifying phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is the heaven hole?
That's what she said. She said, and Rusty was the imaginary friend's name. We're like, we haven't seen what's going on with
Rusty
Rusty.
went down the heaven hole.
She said, Rusty went down the heaven hole.
did Rusty tell you about the heaven hole?
Yeah, no. And she said, well, we said, honey, what do you mean? What's the heaven hole? And she said, yeah, I rolled him in a rug and I put him down the heaven hole.
Oh my God, I'm scared.
And that was like, she murdered her imaginary friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where's the heaven hole? Like,
She
what is
never-
the heaven
she
hole?
would
That
never
scares
say.
the
She said,
child.
yeah, she said, I put him down the heaven hole.
Do you sleep with one eye
You
open
think she
or
may
two?
have actually killed someone?
I don't know, but he never came back. That was the last of Rusty.
So most
That's interesting. So
Yeah.
she was done with that.
She was
phase,
done
and
with
she
that
was like,
phase.
okay.
Yep, she rolled him up in a rug and put him down the heaven hole.
I love the fact that most parents want their kids to just outgrow the imaginary friend. Bendel is like, hey, you haven't talked about your imaginary friend for a while. Can we
Again.
bring that back up?
And is New Jersey showing too? Because she's like, yeah, we rolled him up in a carpet.
He wouldn't pay his weekly.
He doesn't pay the vig, he gets a carpet.
Yeah, he's in the heaven hole. Down
Actually, the
old
heaven hole is scary, but the rolling up in the carpet is next level scary.
Yeah, no, she had a whole thing. She was very, very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in a good place now, though. Rusty is.
Apparently, he's,
knows?
who knows?
Might be
Who knows?
under the house.
He could be under the house. Yeah. That would actually be hilarious if you were a contractor and you called up the people when you were doing some excavation to like put an addition on the house, and you called the people and you'd be like, hey, listen, I need to see you at the place and we're going to have to talk about this. And you bring them and be like, I think we've uncovered some imaginary friends. Well, what do you mean? I don't know. We disturbed some stuff. It looks like there's some imaginary friends buried here. We're probably going to...
What do you mean imaginary friends? I mean, there's imaginary friends
there's
buried
imaginary
all
friends
over
all
the
buried.
Yeah. Did your kids ever have imaginary friends that they told you about?
Did they have?
Because they're all over the back porch.
This is littered with imaginary friends.
Yeah.
All right, Costaki. Well, we appreciate you joining us today.
What a pleasure.
You got anything
That's great.
you'd like to tag, mention, promote?
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically focused on all pro lines. I do I do a radio segment called Quick Snaps, and that's also a podcast. So it's a football joke-driven podcast, and then that sort of morphed into all pro lines. Come find us and write some jokes. Come on in, Bendel. You're a good joke writer.
I've tried periodically on Twitter. I make my contributions when I can.
Yeah, that's right. I like them.
You know,
It's always good to see a joke from Jamie Bendel.
yeah.
What percentage of your jokes involve the Jets?
This year, it's pretty high.
Yeah, it's been easy.
Fun.
It's been easy.
Yeah, the Jets are not good. The Jets are so bad. Elton John is now singing Benny and the Steelers.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, the Jets have been fun to make fun of. It's been the Browns, but now the Browns are 7-3, which is amazing. You know, 2020 is weird. The Browns are good.
It's a whole new world.
How many weeks do you have to wait to make a Joe Burrow joke?
Oh no, you write that joke the first hour. Of course you make fun of it. Well, I actually got some pushback on it from one Twitter follower, and I'm like, look, you can have empathy for the man, which I absolutely do, and joke about the situation, right? So I love Joe Burrow, but my first thought was, boy, I hope this doesn't hurt the Bengals playoff seeding. Gonna miss the rest of the year. I hope he's okay. Now that's a bad injury. I don't know if you saw it, but that's ugly. He's going to miss a year at least. It's a shame because he definitely proved to be the real thing this year. And there's a few really good young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Well, and he's a 35-year-old rookie, so you know he doesn't have as pliable knees as some of the kids that come out early. Did the Bengals even have a backup quarterback?
It wasn't a name I'd ever heard of.
Well, they got rid of Andy Dalton, right?
Right. Yeah, Dalton's the starter for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, so that was Costaki Economopoulous. As he says, I think he actually has the biggest name in comedy.
That's a mouthful.
I appreciate that. I like the idea of the pet peeve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's clever.
I think I hope we reworked it a little bit for him.
That's it. We've had a little bit of a run of some interesting broken bits that I understand maybe a little bit of why they're broken.
But pet peeve's a good one.
I love puns.
Yeah.
Charlie.
All right, so that's going to do it for this episode, Sheep. Remember, don't wander far.
Yeah, because we can't find you if you go too far.
Our shepherds, we don't like to get out. We don't like to stay.
And stay away from the roads.
Unless you're claiming the entire road.
Then
In
take
which case,
all the road.
Block it up. Let
Yeah.
them know what you're listening to. This is the BHHcast.
Thanks for listening. Bye.